I have another story that is going to be talking about my vent that I uploaded a while ago. And yes, I am okay. Thank you for everyone for worrying, but I am okay. So let's get on to the story. So, once upon a time when I was in the grade, I was still in school, but now I'm not because I'm in summer. So yeah, I'm not going to summer school, thankfully, because I was one of the best students in the class. So, yay. So moving on to the story, we'll call this girl JJ. For sure, that's not her actual real name, because even though she did bad things to me, she still deserves privacy. So JJ, I first met her when it was my first day of school. I was like kind of nervous, and the main goal of that day at school was like I need to make friends, because the main focus, like if I get into a new grade or a new school, the first thing that I want to do is get a new friend, to be honest, because I don't want to be alone. So, the teacher had left me to do something. I forgot what it was, and I literally did not know how to do it. So then JJ comes up to me. She's like, do you need help with that? And I'm like, help, please. And so she helps me, right? And then she's like, oh, you want to be friends? So keep in mind, she wanted to start the friendship. Please keep in mind, because that will be important later on. So then I was like, okay, sure, yeah, we could be friends. So after that, we were besties, we were chilling, And then in the next grade, basically she made friends with everyone, or at least she tried. If it was a new student in the school or in the classroom, she would obviously want to be friends with them. So we'll call this other girl Emily. Okay. So Emily was a new student in our class. Sorry, my bunny just got in here. Hi, bunny. Hi, bunny. He's just walking around my feet. He's so fluffy. Like I can feel his fur. So back to the story. So Emily was a new student, So obviously JJ would want to be, besties. And for me, I was used to that, I wasn't like, oh, why are you trying to be friends with her? Because, I didn't want to ruin their friendship, and neither did I want to ruin my friendship with JJ. So they were pretty chill about it, but I kind of felt a little bit angry. And if you don't know what angry means, I got jelly. Because usually, she would just hang out with me, right? But now she's hanging out with her way more often than any of the other students that she's had. So let's say there's a new student, right? She would spend less time with that new student than with Emily. She would spend more time with Emily than any of the other new students. So that's why I kind of grew suspicion. So then the next day, I decide to give her a juice because she really likes the juices that I have. So I gave her my juice because I had already brought my water there. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to need this juice. I'm already good with my water. So I give to her and I ask her, oh, hey, do you want this juice I have? And she completely ignores me. So then I'm like, what? So then I tell her again, hey, do you want this juice? I already drank my water, so I don't think I'll need it. And then she proceeds to get the audacity to ignore me again. So at this point, I'm kind of confused, did I do something wrong? If so, what did I do? Tell me. So then instead of saying that, I was like, okay, maybe I'm going to talk to Emily and tell her what's going on. So I tell Emily, hey, Emily, what's going on with JJ? Why is she ignoring me? And Emily's like, ignoring you? I have no idea what you're talking about. And I was like, girl, listening to what I'm saying to her, and I was like, forget it. So I didn't talk to her or JJ. Keep in mind, I had other friends, and another friend group. That was JJ, and Emily was in a separate one. So in that friend group, I had a girl, let's call her Becky, which was one of my friends. And then let's call her Katie, the next one. And then the other ones aren't really important. So Katie and Becky. So those are important characters. So while Katie was in, Katie wasn't really my friend. She was more of a friend of Becky. So I was like, oh, hi, Katie. And she was like, oh, hi. Right, so we got along. But little did I know, Katie had heard what had been happening with me and JJ recently, how we had been separate, right? And everyone was always like nosy in the drama, you know? So they were always asking for your opinions on the story. So a lot of people had come up to me in the class, like if I was walking, like if I was in the line for recess or something like that, like someone would always tap my shoulder, and I was like, what? They're like, oh, what happened to you and JJ? And I was like, nothing happened, like we're just distant from each other. And they were like, oh, okay. Like they thought I was the bad villain in the story. Great. So little did I know, Katie actually came in as like a spy to see what I was doing in that friend group. And then everything that I said in that friend group went directly to JJ. And to be honest, I told everyone what had happened between me and JJ, right? So, and Katie had heard everything. So she told everything to JJ. And JJ now had even more hatred to me than she had before. So then the other day passes, and right when I'm about to, hang out with my other friend group, the one that has Becky and Katie, and she grabs my hand, and I'm like, what is this girl gonna do to me? So I look back, and she's with this irritated face. Oh my god, guys. She looks at me dead in the eye, and she's like, where do you think you're going? You're staying with me, Katie, and Emily. I was like, Katie? Katie had never been in that friend group with Emily and JJ before. So that's when I kind of grew suspicion. And then JJ proceeded to tell me, Katie told me everything. And I was like, oh, that little snitch. Just kidding. I was like, are you kidding me? I felt kind of embarrassed and kind of mad at Katie because I actually thought that she was really nice. And so did Becky. But keep in mind, Becky wasn't a snitch like Miss Katie over here. So she got really mad at me, and the entire recess period, I had to be with her, Katie, and Emily. And then when JJ would go to the bathroom with Katie, probably to talk about some drama and gossip, I would be left with Emily. So I would tell Emily literally everything and how I'm not the bad guy in this situation, because she probably grew suspicion of me, right? So I told her everything. And then she was like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. And I felt like I was getting literally replaced with Katie and Emily. Keep in mind, me and JJ had been friends for years, and this was the first ever friend that had broken off with me. So I kind of felt sad. I also cried a lot in the bathrooms. I would have meltdowns there, and now whenever I go in the bathroom, in this year, I kind of get flashbacks of me having crying meltdowns there. So yeah, I don't really like to be in the bathroom anymore, which yeah, the school bathroom, of course. So let's get back into it. So Emily was really understanding, which I really liked because she was actually a good person. She wasn't the bad guy. JJ and Katie, on the other hand, were. So then later on, I was in math class, and we were talking about everything, and the teachers were just, passing out the stuff and everything, It was basic stuff, right? Everything that happened usually in the class, nothing different. But then, on the other hand, JJ was in that class too, right? So she had an old picture of for my birthday present, because my birthday was coming up. Yeah. So she had it, and she gave it to me and literally crossed my face out. And the savage me was like, girl, I don't care. And I ripped it in front of her face. And guys, you should have saw her face. And she was so angry at me. And then I gave it to her. I was like, hey bestie, not bestie. So I gave it to her, right? And she was like, ugh. And I was like, I'm a savage. So then the next day, she's all apologizing to me and whatnot. She's like, oh, I'm so sorry, please forgive me. And I was like, you think I'm gonna forgive you? Just like that, in a day or 2? You think I'm just gonna forgive you? No, thank you, girl. I don't want your toxic. Also, through that, I ignored everyone, so I was a little bit toxic, And then, at the end, she was like, oh, I'm still your friend, right? And I was like, you're my friend? You are far distance from my friend. You better call yourself something else before we get into hands, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, that was the story of the vent, if you didn't understand it. So yeah, this is just explaining it. Anyways, bye-bye guys. I hope you have a good day or night or morning or afternoon or wherever you are in this chaos of a world. Anyways, I hope you all such lovely nights or days or afternoons. So yeah, bye-bye.